Welcome everyone to day 2 of the Blacks in Technology Conference. My name is Servanes Wilson, and I have been consulting businesses big and small for over 20 years. Over 15 of those years was spent as a freelancer, and the last 5 years has been spent as owner-operator of the Isaac Institute's consulting and design firm. I'll put a link in the chat if you want to learn more about me and my business. I really didn't come here today to talk about me, although there will be some anecdotes from my experience. I came to talk about the elephant in the room for most business owners. And that is, did I create a business or did I just create a job? Now, I can say for me personally, despite experience running companies as a manager and advising business owners, my work as a freelancer actually hurt me when I started my business because I, like many other business owners, were so focused on the transaction of my business that I forgot to think about the other functions of business. All my business owners here know the feeling of having a great idea and how we assume customers are going to line up when we present our product or service to the world. However, most of us forget what a business actually consists of. Think about your current job or your most recent employment. Take a moment, and everyone in the chat, put all the different departments that you can remember from your current job or your recent employment. And all of the people who haven't started their businesses yet, check the chat out for these different departments being mentioned. You'll see admin, you'll see human resources, legal, accounting, marketing, advertising, sales, customer service, and the list goes on. As a solopreneur or a small business owner, these are all your jobs. And if you can't afford to hire people in the beginning of your business journey, like most of us, then you are responsible for all of these business functions. And with that being said, this is why I'm presenting to you today the importance of having a tech stack that will systematize a lot of your business's processes. 8 out of 10 businesses, they fail to see their first year anniversary. And primarily this is due to lack of funding, but secondarily it is due to lack of systems. This is what I learned the hard way in my business journey, and what I hope to prevent you from having to learn the way that I did. I hadn't created a business. I had created a job, several jobs at that. My business model was founder dependent, and it could not function without me. So going from a freelancer to a business owner, I realized this once a family emergency forced me to put my operations on hold for over 15 months. And during this time, I realized, my mistake in how I started the company and still ran it like I was doing my freelancing, and utilized the time that I had away from my business to begin researching how to systematize all of these different functions of my company so that it could operate without me. And it made me realize that there's a lot of businesses that I've advised and that I work with that are struggling with the same problem. Over 80% of businesses in America are solo-run operations, and this means that 8 out of 10 of us who own our own companies are doing everything ourselves, which emphasizes the importance of having systems in place. So the real question is, did I start a business or did I just buy myself a job? When you go from these companies working for other people and then you set out on your own, you're really trading your job for another job, and you're trading your boss for multiple bosses, because all of your customers are your bosses. And when we get into this struggle where we have no systems in place, the business is totally dependent upon us, this is why 8 out of 10 businesses don't make it to their first anniversary. So today I want to share some of the industry leading tech stacks for a lot of the businesses that are started by Black Americans and people of color. And hopefully this will allow you to kind of take a step back and think about ways in which you can buy your time back utilizing some of these tech stacks and these different software platforms that will allow you to systematize a lot of the functions of your operation. So the thing that saved my business personally for me was implementing a CRM. The CRM that we use is called Bloom. For a lot of creatives, if you're a designer or a person who does any type of graphic art, Bloom is a pretty good platform because it allows you to get a customer portal where your clients can log in, they can see your mock-ups, they can give approvals, they can tell you what they like, what they don't like, etc. So that was one of the things that really allowed me to kind of buy back some of my time and take a lot of those manual processes out of my business and make it more automated. So we'll go through some of the top 25 businesses that are Black ran and some of the industry standard software that they use, as well as some of the budget friendly alternatives and options for those of us who don't have the finances to purchase industry standard software. I call it the Black Stack. And the Black Stack is basically having a foundation, having lean operations, automating workflows, making sure you have a good culture in your company as you bring new people in, and also to keep cash flowing as well. In a customer's journey, we have to understand, how do we acquire customers, how do we make them aware of who we are, and how do we get them to take action with our business. So I'll start with hair salon, barbershop. A lot of Black business owners have hair salons and barbershops. One of the industry standards for barbershops and salons is Vagaro, Gloss Genius. Any of my barbers and hairstylists out there that are using industry standard software will know these. Also Shopify, QuickBooks, other things like that that they use in that industry. However, you can get by with a budget-friendly alternative such as Square Appointments, the Square Point of Sale, Square Online. Most of those things are free. You have to pay, obviously, to upgrade for more features and things like that. Google Workspace is also a budget-friendly tech stack that will allow you to do most of the functions that the industry standard software does. And so these are the types of things that I would be researching if I had a hair salon or a barbershop, just to try to take out of the process the manual labor of, calling clients calling me, having, disagreements with reservations and different things of that nature. All of those things are very important when it comes to your final interaction with the customer. And that's what we tend to think about when we think about business. We don't really think about all the various different departments and functions of a business. We tend to think about the transaction between us and our customer. And when you think about the transaction between you and your customer, it kind of makes you put the important business functions on the back burner. But having these tech stacks will definitely allow you to kind of stop neglecting those overlooked sections of business that we tend to bypass when we start our companies. Another big business in the Black community is, social media, creative, and also people who are doing music, people who are doing entertainment. There's a lot of different industry standard software that they use in both of those industries. For instance, if you're a music artist, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with things like DistroKid, United Masters, other places where you can distribute your music online. They also have industry standards like Clavillo, Maestro. Some of those are a little bit more pricier for independent music artists, but you do have options on both ends to decide how you want to present your art to the world. And it's the same with the social media people and the creators. You have Asana, you have Hootsuite, you have HubSpot, all of these different industry standard platforms that people use. But you also have budget-friendly options like Notion or Airtable, Trello, ClickUp, all of these different things that you can use to accomplish the same goals as industry standard platforms. So we just want to make sure that we're focusing on researching how can we do these various different functions that get overlooked. How can we automate our marketing? How can we get our sales team together, even if it's just us by ourselves? How can we do the advertising? Are we going to do traditional advertising, whether that's television commercials, radio ads, newspaper ads, things of that nature? Or are we going to kind of stick to digital marketing where we're dealing with social media and other platforms and advertising on there? These are the things that would allow us to buy back some of our time and transform our business from a job to an actual business. To all my merch people, my apparel people, all my people out there that's got clothing lines and different things of that nature. Of course, you have direct-to-consumer options like Printful and Printify, and even Amazon has a option where you can become a seller of your merch through them as well. They'll print it all up and send it out to customers and different things of that nature. Now, the drawback to that is you do need to order merch from these different platforms to see what quality they are sending to your customers before you go all in on one of these platforms. But again, these are the types of things that allow you to purely focus on promoting and marketing your business versus having to screen print shirts yourself or iron press shirts yourself, or go to UPS and the USPS and FedEx and all of that and sending all these packages out and all of these different things. You can avoid that simply by having a direct-to-consumer like Printful or Printify or all of these different platforms that we have available. So I would definitely look into that if I'm in the apparel and merch industry. Same thing with catering, food prep, meal prep, food trucks, things of that nature. With food trucks, some of the industry standard platforms are Toast, Square for restaurants, Sotellus. But you can also get away with just having a Square POS with the online ordering. And you can use Google Maps schedule page to show people where your truck is going to be at any day and time. So it's a lot of options that you can get around having to pay the high cost of these industry standard platforms. But you just have to do the research and find out what works best for you, and keeping in mind your customer journey, but as well as the way that you like to work. We all work differently. We all have different processes in the way we do things. Documenting those processes is going to be a game changer for you and your business, because now that you have the way you like things done documented into a process, you can train people and you can have other people train people based off of the processes that you've put in place. And that way we get some consistency with the delivery of our products, with the delivery of our services, and people can get that consistency no matter how many different locations or trucks or whatever, what have you, that we decide to open and endeavor in. So I really want to make sure that everybody understands, like, do the research for your industry, find out what the standard industry platforms are, and then look for budget-friendly alternatives that will allow you to have those same functions, but just at a cheaper, more affordable price. All my people with cleaning services, residential, commercial, a lot of the industry standard software is platforms like Jobber, platforms like House Call Pro, which of course these platforms come at a cost. However, if you wanted to be budget friendly, you could use things like Google Forms. You could use Airtable as your CRM. You can use Calendly to schedule. You can use Stripe for collecting payments and things of that nature. And you can also use platforms like DocuSign to sign contracts and things of that nature. So there's always a way to take these random processes that we do in our businesses, and we do them manually and personally. There's always ways to automate those processes and buy back some of that time that we really don't have when you're a business owner. And so the 4 rules of tools, the rule of 4 tools: sell, get customers, communicate, stay connected, get paid, collect money, deliver, fulfill promises. If you can get a tool that allow you to do all 4 of these things, you are winning. You are winning. You are ahead of the game of most of us solopreneurs out here who have to do everything ourselves. Being able to have a tool that will get customers, make them aware of who we are, being able to have a tool that will communicate with these customers and allow us to stay connected with them is going to be a grand help. Getting paid, being able to take payments, whether it's credit card, cash, whatever the case may be, and then being able to deliver our products or our services to the end user. These are some of the most important functions of a business, and a lot of times they go overlooked because we only focus on the end the end point, which is dealing with the actual customer. We don't really think about customer service or sales or marketing or advertising. You can have the best product or service in the world, but having a great product or service doesn't ensure success. Because if nobody knows you exist, then what are we doing? I mean, how's that helping you, and how's that helping the customer who actually needs your product or service? And that's one of the things I noticed that gets overlooked the most in business is marketing. People don't want to put together a marketing budget and pay for ads and pay for ways for customers to become aware of them. And social media is a great start with that. If you don't have the money to pay for ads, if you don't have the money to do television commercials or radio spots and different things of that nature, then what you want to do is take advantage of the free advertising, which is social media. Everybody's on it. I just read an article a couple weeks ago that said people are spending nearly 9 hours a day on social media. 9 hours a day. That's a whole work shift and some overtime. So if you want to have a chance, a fighting chance at allowing your business to be a success, you should definitely be thinking about, how am I going to market my business? In terms of, in the chat, I see a question about what percentage of budget should go to marketing. Well, I usually go off of the business plan. Before you start a business, you should always create a business plan so you can see exactly how much market share is available to you and your company. How many people, is the maximum amount of customers that you could possibly get? And what is your ideal customers? Do you have customer personas that, outline what your most ideal client would look like? And how are you going to communicate to them? This is where the branding aspect of your business comes into play. Strong branding is very important in terms of being able to make your business memorable, being able to make your business something that's referable. Because if I came to you and I had a business card printed up on a regular piece of paper, how serious would you take me as a business owner? Versus if I came to you with something digital, or if I came to you with some kind of fancy card stock with your perception of the business is gonna be a lot different based upon how I present it. And that's one of the biggest issues in our community in terms of presenting businesses to the masses. We come with the rinky-dink logo, we come with the rinky-dink website, we come with, the things that don't portray professionalism, and we don't ever take the time to think, if I saw this business card, would I buy with this person? If I saw this website, would I trust putting my credit card information into this site? These are the things we have to consider when we are putting these things together for our businesses. We have to understand, look how you are when you are going to purchase. When you go to purchase things, you usually purchase things based on either one or two things. Either somebody told you something good about it, or you saw some kind of marketing. Now, the percentage of your budget that should go to marketing is going to vary from business to business. It's going to vary from industry to industry. However, you should have a marketing budget. And if you can't have a marketing budget, then you have to budget time for social media management and posting and all of those things that a lot of us neglect doing for our businesses. I'm guilty of it myself. I have been lucky to be able to rely on word of mouth, which is not something you should bank on. So don't do what I'm doing. Don't bank on word of mouth. I have over 20 some odd years of experience advising businesses and things of that nature. So, when you build up that much experience and you've touched that many people, then, having word of mouth kind of works, but at the same time, it's just not good enough to really give your business the best chance for success. And that's what we want to do. We want to give our business the best chance for success. And the way to do that is allocating a budget for marketing, or allocating time to spend on social media, making sure that our brand is being heard, making sure that our brand is being seen, and making sure people understand what problem we are solving for them. Because business, that's all it is. Business is problem solving. What problem are you solving for your customer? It's not enough to just have a good product or service. There are thousands upon thousands of great ideas that never made a dollar. There are thousands and thousands of great products and services that nobody knows about. So we don't want to put ourselves behind the 8 ball when we started behind the 8 ball in the first place. Having hard times getting funding, having hard times, being able to acquire even support from family, from friends, from our network. Everybody who's a business owner understands what I'm talking about. Because sometimes when people see you doing something and they're not doing anything, it can breed resentment, it can breed hatred, and it can breed all of these things from the people you love and care about the most. So to give yourself a fighting chance, it's very important that we consider these various different tech stacks. It's very important that we consider marketing. It's very important that if we can't afford to do marketing, that we are active on social media. Put your kids to work, get an intern. That's one of the things that helped my business as well. Bringing in interns, letting them get some real world experience and some money, and being able to take a lot of those functions of business off of my plate. Likewise with freelancers. I was a freelancer for over 15 years. There's some very talented freelancers out there that do very, very good work. They just don't want to be tied down to a company. And there's websites like Fiverr and others that will allow you to vet some of these people, see reviews on them and different things of that nature, and you can bring them in and get some of these projects done. So if you are doing something like landscaping, lawn care, handyman, things of this nature, the industry standard for a lot of those is similar to the commercial cleaning and residential cleaning. You have websites and platforms like Jobber. You also have House Call Pro, Service Titan, different ones like that. Now, when you get to the budget-friendly side of things, especially for landscaping and lawn care, they have one called Yardbook, which is free. You can add Stripe to that. You can add Google Voice for your business phone number, all of those things, and that will save you a ton of money in terms of industry standard software, but still be able to have the functions that allow you to automate a lot of these processes of your business. Same thing with the handyman and things of that nature. You can use Square Invoices, Google Forms for estimates, etc. And these are the types of platforms that will allow us to go ahead and take a lot of these business functions that often get overlooked. And so as we go through more of these, you'll see some of these that's industry standards. You'll see some of these that are budget friendly options. HubSpot, I'm pretty sure people have heard of them, even if they're not familiar with the platform itself. Is one of the industry standard platforms. It's really good because it grows and scales as your business grows and scales. But that that growth and scale does come with a price. So we have to make sure that we are aware of how these things will scale up as our company grows. It's one thing to have a budget-friendly tech stack, but it's a whole nother thing to have a headache of a migration going into trying to implement, and scale up the business after your business is actually profitable and able to afford industry standard software. Some of these budget friendly options may be a pain to scale up versus the industry standard software platform. So that's where the research comes in and doing our due diligence to find out what our industry standards are, as well as what are budget friendly options that can get the job done and allow us to scale in the future. So short-term rentals, all my Airbnb people, they have industry standard platforms like Guesty and Wheelhouse. However, you also have, things like HostAway and Hospitable and Price Labs. These are different budget-friendly tech stacks that have some of the same functions as the industry standard software. So I just really want to emphasize the importance of turning this job you've created into an actual business. I know this doesn't apply to everybody. Some people started out with this information and came in the game with their systems already in place. And kudos to those who did. But this is a fluid process, because as your business grows, you may find that the platform that you're currently using no longer serves you or your business. So that's why it's important to kind of keep up with what's going on, especially with AI now. AI is becoming better and better at being able to do so many functions, especially if you need help with just brainstorming and coming up with ideas for things like that. If you don't have a ChatGPT account already, what are you waiting on? Especially if you're a business owner, what are you waiting on? If you don't got nobody else in your life that's supporting you, believing in you, seeing the vision, get this AI and allow it to help you. And take some of that time, back for yourself and do the things that you really want to be doing with your life. So as we go through more of these, like, my consultants, I'm a consultant, all my consultants out there, all my coaches, my business coaches, career coaches, life coaches, etc. Some of the industry standard software in that area is Kajabi. Again, we got HubSpot there. Of course, a lot of people were using DocuSign. But you can use, like for me, I use Google Workspace, and I also use Calendly, and I use Stripe to do the payments and different things of that nature, and I use Google Meet to do the actual virtual meetings. But some clients, I meet with in person, so it just depends. But all my coaches, my consultants out there, those are some of the options that you have to kind of take away that manual labor of scheduling and trying to keep up with these various different appointments and different things of that nature. So when we're out here doing these things, we have to make sure we're mindful of what are people using? Why are people using it? Will it be beneficial to me and what I'm trying to do? So you see another group of these tools, the standard industry ones are marked as such, and the budget-friendly ones are marked as such as well. So my truckers, my couriers, my mobile delivery people, there's trucking-specific software. You have TMS, you have Samsara, you have Keep Trucking, all of these different industry standard platforms, but then you have budget-friendly versions as well, such as On Fleet Lite or Routific, and you can pair those with Stripe to accept payments and different things of that nature. Now, of course, there are other platforms to get routes and jobs and things of that nature. That's another research effort that I encourage all of my truckers and couriers and mobile delivery people to do. And also, if you're doing mobile delivery for other people, Amazon and DoorDash and all of these different things, Uber and whatnot, make sure you are getting all of your tax benefits from doing that. That's another important thing is with our taxes at the end of the year or the beginning of the year or however you choose to do your taxes, you have to make sure that you're getting your tax credits for all of these things that you're doing, all the money you're putting into the business, all the money you're putting into your advertising and marketing efforts. When you go to these conferences and different things like that, these count as part of your marketing and advertising efforts because we are networking, we are getting to know new people, we're telling them what we do, we're telling them what we have to offer. And so we have to make sure that when we are out here at these tech conferences and at these industry conferences and networking events and all of those things, make sure you get your money for your travel there and back, your food there, your cost to get into the function in the first place. All of these things come back to you in the form of tax credits. Because if I'm gonna sit here and owe Uncle Sam $20,000 at the end of the year, then I want to make sure that I take as much of that money that I owe as possible and apply it to the things that I have invested into my business. It makes no sense to just give them that free money when you can write off this equipment that you had to buy, when you can write off these marketing and advertising efforts you done invested in, and including the software, these tech stacks that we're talking about. These things are write-offable as well. So we want to make sure that when we're doing our business, we're thinking about, what are the different things that I can do that will allow me to not have to pay Uncle Sam all this money. Because if you make $100,000 this year or $500,000 this year, a third of that is gonna be allocated to taxes. Uncle Sam, where my $30,000 at? Where is it? I need that. And if you don't have a plan for offsetting those taxes that you owe, by, putting vehicles in your business name. Anything over 6,000 pounds, it counts as a business expense and you can write it off. You can write it off partially year over year. You can write the whole thing off. You just have to keep up with the tax codes and how they change from, administration to administration. However, they do have a lot of things in place for business owners to take advantage of write-offs. And that's why you see so many multimillionaires and billionaires that don't really pay that much money in taxes because they write everything off. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well for all the people who are worried about spending money on marketing, spending money on tech stacks, and this and that. I know a lot of people say, "Well, I ain't got the money for that." Blah blah blah. Well, when you make money this year to your customers, you're still gonna owe Uncle Sam. So the money that you invest into these tech stacks and the money that you invest into your marketing, it'll cut into what you owe him. And so that's the reason why it's so important to systematize our businesses and keep ourselves from having to really understand how to go from these manual processes to more automated processes. It's very important that we know that these expenses can be written off. So don't look at it as, oh, I don't have the money for that. Look at it as, oh, this is going to take away from the money that I owe at the end of the year. Because you're going to owe if you're making money. There's no getting around it. And so we just want to make sure that we're keeping all of those things in context when we're doing that. So we'll go through some of these different customer journeys that I have on the slides here. All my e-commerce people, you make people aware through social media, not necessarily Instagram ads. It could be any platform that causes people to come to your landing page, whether that's Shopify or your own personal business website, whatever, what have you. You have that call to action there so that they'll take action. That's how you acquire them to go through the checkout process. And then having these email automations is very clutch as well, because I had a bad problem with following up, especially after conferences and networking events and different things of that nature. If you got an email set up, MailChimp is one of the budget-friendly options to get started. Of course, as you scale and grow, that will come at a cost later on. And to be clear to everybody, I'm not getting paid by any of these platforms that I'm recommending. This is just what I see the most when I'm out here advising different companies and seeing what everybody's using and why they're using it. So, for instance, if we network today and we met and we exchanged contact information and this and that, if I had a way to send an automated email to you, that would allow me to be better at keeping up with the people that I meet and having those touch points and developing those relationships. Because let's be honest, we all leave these conferences, we have a bunch of new people that we met, but sometimes we do have a hard time following up. And so things like that will make it a lot easier to cultivate those relationships and generate business from these different conferences and events that we attend. So going through that, we want to make sure that we have the systems in place to take advantage of all of these activities that we're doing, because it makes no sense to go to these conferences, to these events, and not follow up with any of the wonderful people that we meet there. You know what I mean? Last year I volunteered for BITCON 2024 in Atlanta. Had a last minute venue change, but we all came together, we pulled it off, and it still ended up being a wonderful event. And that experience and being able to work with all the people behind the scenes with Blacks in Technology is what ultimately allowed me to be a speaker here this year, because we came together as a group and made it happen, even though we were going through a very stressful event. So when we are out here and we go into these events and different things of that nature, we have to make sure that we get the bang for our buck. And the bang for our buck is simply following up with all of these great people that we're meeting. All of these people here are doing great things individually, but we can do so much more together. So we want to make sure that we are aware of that. We want to make sure that we are being mindful of that, and we want to make sure that after this we are following up with one another and seeing how we can help. When I follow up with people, I'm not following up to offer you my product or service or none of that kind of stuff. I'm offering you help. What can I do to help? What can I do to help you achieve your business goals? And in me offering my service, I will learn the things that you can do to help me. And that's what it is. It's all about helping each other. In the black community, we tend to do these things in silos, and we're operating by ourselves, and we get burnt out, and all of these different things tend to happen. And it's an easy way to avoid that. Creating a community around what you do, finding other people who are passionate about your industry, passionate about the reason why you got in business in the first place. You know, I got in business to help people. That's what I got in business for. I didn't get in business to make money. Now, of course, I need money to survive and live and thrive and all of those things. But I got into business to help people because I see so many people out here scamming. I see so many people out here taking people's money. I see so many people out here pretending to be experts and they're not. And people are paying these people thousands and thousands of dollars for information that they could have Googled or that they could have asked ChatGPT for free. I never charge for consultations. I'll tell people what they need to do, how they need to do it, step by step, for free. I charge to do the work. You want me to do the work, then I have to charge you. But if you want to know what you need to do, how you need to do it, then by all means, you can hit me up anytime and I'll put together a plan for you, and you won't even have to worry about having to think about none of it, because the plan will be step by step and show you exactly what you need to do to accomplish your business goals. I'll throw the link to my company website in the chat for those of you who want to check it out. We look like we have just a few more minutes left, but I just really want to bring home the point of having some type of systems in place for your business, because without it, you are going to be a Jamaican. You're going to have 50 jobs. You're going to be human resources. You're going to be legal and accounting. You're going to be advertising, marketing, sales, all of these different departments that we mentioned earlier. Those are all your jobs if you don't take the time to figure out, how am I going to automate some of these processes? How am I going to make my customer journey as seamless as possible? Because think about it, with the rise of all of this scamming and people taking information and selling it and all of these different things that's going on the internet, we are being very wary about where we put our credit card information and who we put our email and different things. So we have to make sure that when we're presenting ourselves and our businesses to our customers, we have to make sure that it's something that we would buy from. You know, I come to this regular old website that doesn't look very professional, colors everywhere, different fonts everywhere. I'm not really gonna be comfortable putting my credit card information in there. I'm just not. And I would beg to think that most of you would not do the same. If you see something that's just looking kind of sketchy, I would think that most of you would skip over that. And oh yeah, thank you, Jasmine, for the systems expert recommendation. Everybody check that out in the chat. I've actually heard of Miss Jasmine Wooten. She's getting a good reputation in the industry, so I am aware of her, and she is somebody that I can second that motion. So when we are thinking about what are we going to do for our business, it starts with our processes. How do you do things? Why do you do them that way? And documenting that so that you can train others and allow the business to not be so dependent on you. Because in my experience, having that family emergency and having to take 15 months off away from my business, it really hurt me. It really put me in a bind, and it put my business in a bind. And I don't want that for any of you. I don't want any of you to have to go through that and have that happen to you, to realize that the way you're running and operating your business is just not sustainable. It's not sustainable, and it's not giving your business the best chance for success. I mean, we just heard that 8 out of 10 businesses will not see their first anniversary. Think about that for a moment. 8 out of 10 businesses will not even see year one. So when you take that into account, what's stopping that from being your business that don't get to make it to their anniversary? Systems, processes, tech stacks, all of these things can be the very cause of you not making it to that anniversary. And so, if there's anything that I want to leave you all with, and I'm gonna send my email as well. So, all the list of different tech stacks and different things of that nature. If you want a copy of that, you want a copy of the slides or any of that, just email me and I'll make sure that you get a copy of the slides, and I'll also make sure that you get the Word documents with all of the different industries on there, all of the different industry standard software, as well as the budget-friendly software. And that way you don't have to do all of that research yourself. You can just hit me up with an email, say, hey, I was at your BITCON presentation today. I would like the tech stack document, and I would like the slides from today's presentation as well. Because I didn't even go through all the slides, but most of them was just, the different customer journeys for the various different types of industries. Some of the AI tools that people can use, some of the different ways to help with cash flow. I know a lot of businesses have a hard time with keeping cash on deck, so we have strategies for that. A lot of the automation software programs, Zapier is one of the biggest ones in the industry, Make is another one, but there's also automations and different things you can do in Google. So just really learning the different things that these platforms actually have to offer will be a great help to you in your business journey, because think about it, most of us don't even know what all our phone can do, because we never read the manual. We never followed up to see what all these different functions this phone has capable of it. So all of the things that we are currently using, and even if you don't want to switch to a new tech stack from what you're already doing, at least get the most out of what you are using, because you'll be surprised that some of the things that's causing hangups in your business, your platform that you're already using probably already has a solution for that embedded already. It's just that when you don't understand the platform, you don't understand what's all available to you. And so I urge everybody to actually do that as well. And somebody said I'm being mean with the phone coming. Yeah, we and that's for Android and Apple users. It's not just one side or the other. So I'll go through the rest of these. I'm about to close, but I just wanted you to see the final slides, just run through these real quick. And like I said, if you want to get a copy of this, you want to get a copy of the different tech stacks and different things available by industry, please just send me an email. Let me know your interest, and I'll make sure I get that sent over to you before the end of the day. I thank everybody for joining me. It's been a pleasure to share this information with you and try to help you avoid some of the mistakes that I made when I started my business, some of the things that held my business up. We're celebrating a 5th year anniversary coming in April, so most businesses don't make it that far. So I'm excited to see what the next 5 years holds for my company and its expansion and scaling. And I look forward to seeing what happens with your companies as well. So everybody, please reach out. I will make sure that I give you all of the information you saw today. And I will also make sure that if you have any questions, if you want to put together a consultation, I do free consultations. You can tell me what your business goals are. We'll put together a plan for how you can achieve that. and we'll go from there. But again, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you everybody for attending the Blacks in Technology Conference this year. I look forward to seeing what they do next year. Hopefully it's in person next year, and I will see you all there. And everybody have a great rest of the conference. And share with me anything you've learned in your emails when you email me for the information. Share with me anything you've learned. I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to educate myself. No matter how much education and experience that I get, I'm always trying to increase that and get other insights from other people. So please share with me your favorite parts of the conference. Please share with me the things you've learned, and please share with me any nuggets of wisdom that you were able to attain from the conference as well. Thank you again. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it, and I look forward to connecting with all of you.